Hello and a very warm welcome to another episode of ETCFO Presents ET Studios, CFO Blueprint in association with SAP. Now today we are shifting focus to the startup world with the theme Talent, Tech and Trust, redefining the finance function in startups. Now here's the reality. In high growth startups, finance is no longer just about bookkeeping or reporting numbers. The role has expanded into something far more strategic, leveraging technology for sharper decisions, building trust with investors and teams, and making sure growth doesn't come at the cost of governance. And in an ecosystem that moves at lightning speed, finance leaders are being asked to do it all: manage costs, adopt the latest tools, attract the right talent, and still inspire confidence in stakeholders. So, to explore how this balance is playing out, we are joined in by Prudhvi Teja, who is the AVP Finance at MPL, who's been right in the middle of the shift, steering finance in one of India's fastest scaling startups. Prudhvi, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. We are talking about finance, especially in startups in this conversation. So let's start with the basics. How do you think has the role of finance changed in startups in the past 3 to 5 years, especially with rapid scaling?
Yeah, so I can say one thing. Every finance function has two parameters, which is the core functions and the strategic partnering, I can say. So for every startup, the core function is remind. I mean, there's a basic thing which every startup has to do that. But when it comes to the strategic partnering and partnering with the business and taking the decision and driving the entire strategy, driving the AOPs, so that has been evolving over the last 3 to 5 years, I can say, because now the finance is partnering closely, not as a postmortem things, but as a driving the business as a whole, which was not the case before. And now, if you see that a lot of startups are going to IPO, and there have been
Yeah.
increased awareness about governance and how do you set the processes at the start. And once you close Series B or Series C, and you have a path towards IPO over the next 5 years, how do you think that from right now, and thinking about the future, how do you structure your finance teams? So that has been scaled massively over the last 3 to 5 years, and a lot of awareness, I can say, within the finance, the startup finance. Um, and a lot of now there are avenues to raise the funds, instead of diluting the founder's stake. You need to look at the diversified fundings, right? Instead of requesting the founders to raise more and keep the balance sheet, keep the cash in the balance sheet and everything. So now you have how you can raise the funds through the debt, by analyzing the key metrics. So now you can partner closely on those aspects.
Yeah. But we are currently in an era which is very technologically woke,
Right.
right? Especially the startup industry or the whole startup space. When it comes to these emerging technologies, Prithvi, like AI, like analytics, how are they changing the finance operations and also the decision making processes in startups?
Okay, so there are two things to it. One is the analytics and the AI part of it. Okay, let me cover the
Yeah,
first part of
yeah,
is analytics. So analytics are far more important at the current phase. Okay, most of the people has not adapted to the AI as we speak
yeah.
to a decision making in the finance team. So when you speak about analytics, okay, let me give an example of a B2C market or D2C market. You need to read the data or the key metrics from time to time. For that, you cannot go back to your data team and ask us, please give me the data of yesterday, or please give me the data of day before yesterday, right? So you need to automate entire analytics part, whatever the key metrics that you would like to track to, which will help you to take a decision, right? So that you need to automate. There are a lot of tools, like even the finance folks has to learn the SQL. They need to understand how they can query the data in the back end
Yeah.
without depending upon the data team, so that they can be able to partner. In a case of B2C world, you need to understand how your consumers are behaving, how your customers are behaving, what is your average revenue per user, what is your long-term value. So these are the some kind of metrics, which is basic metrics you should track every day. Otherwise, you cannot go and speak to the business, and you cannot be able to sit across and take a decisions, right? So, so analytics has been the four most important function in the finance right now,
Yeah.
barring the regular duties that you need to take care of, the bookkeeping and everything, which is go on. But if you don't have analytical tools or analytical persons in your team to see the data and take the decision, you are not going anywhere. You cannot give a right direction to the founder. You cannot give a right direction to the, you cannot answer to the investors and everything. And coming back to the AI, right? So AI, there is two kind of AI. One is the agentic AI and Gen AI. So in case of Gen AI, is mostly what you're using the chat GPT. You give us the prompt and it will do the work and give you the output, right? In case of agentic AI, it's more of process driven. It will learn from whatever you have requested. I mean, on the entire process of learning, it will take care of, right? So I will give an small example where agentic AI can be used. It's a basic process in every company where the invoices will come to your inbox to process to the vendors and everything, right?
Yeah.
So you can implement some kind of tool on top of it, which will read the data from time to time and post the entries in the books of accounts. So it is not evolved as we speak, but I've seen some kind of companies which are trying to solve this, the basic process, fix the basics first, then you can go into a complex set of financial systems later in adopting the AI, right? I have seen the companies who are solving on order to cash, procurement to pay, invoice management, revenue cycle management through the AI.
Through
Right,
AI, yeah.
through AI. So I think most of the people as we speak has not adopted. Everyone is speaking about AI, but how many people has adopted
Yeah.
is the question right
It's
now.
a question.
And being in a finance function, using AI, there is a chance of error, right? And we being the custodians of the money and being the custodians of the books of accounts, we cannot adopt without giving a try or validating it at 100% level, right? So now the agentic AI has to be adopted, then there is you can move into a Gen AI system. So this is the process which you have to I think most of the finances, the traditional industry is more they are not adopted. I think for the startups to adopt, I think the startups are, I can say, they are more matured in terms of understanding tech.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So most of the founders are thinking that you should not use the Excel sheets for the decision making, or for me to okay, if you wanted to tell the revenue number, don't tell me in Excel sheet. Okay, send me, use some tool where automatically I will see from time to time. I'm not
A dashboard kind of
a dashboard
yeah.
kind of thing, right? I'm not required to speak to you from an what is my gross order value to my EBITDA. Just don't tell me send me the Excel sheets. You figure out with the data team, sit with the data team, understand how the data is flowing, and then improvise upon that. So
Yeah.
that's
No,
how.
absolutely. The startups are the poster child for technology,
Right.
right? Like as you said, that they are more mature in terms of when it comes to using technology right way. But when it comes to startups, a lot of startups or startups in general come under a lot of scrutiny from regulators, from investors. So how do you sort of keep that kind of trust and transparency in your organization while also seeing that your growth doesn't slow down?
That's a great question. In fact, I can say um, all the startups are running on a treadmill, right? So you need to catch them. The finance need to catch them, and the finance has to take care of the past things, and they also need to be part of the next growth journey, like how the business is evaluating, what kind of calls that they are taking, right? So when they are doing so much, how do you able to travel with the investors and stakeholders to ensure that they are also growing, but there are no risks? So finance as a function, whenever I was speaking to a lot of investors, right? They will tell me one thing, that finance is reporting to the investors and also reporting to the founders. It's a dual reporting, right? Which you're making. You have to ensure and partner with the business to grow, and also travel with investors to update on key risks and what are the key updates which are going on. In my experience, you need to be transparent with the investors, have regular check-ins, have an audit committees, ensure like what is going on in the business, how I am able to automate the functions in the finance, how many audits you are doing it to ensure that, and everything is set right, right? And when it comes to regulators, I'll give a basic example of whenever someone wants to grow outside India, okay, the business is growing in India, they will say that, hey, I would like to launch in US.
Yeah.
Can you help me to launch in next 15 days? But they have everything ready, the tech ready, because the tech is the same piece which will work in India, which will work in US also, right? So, but when it comes to finance, they will put a pressure that I want a clearance from you as soon as possible, so that I would like to go to US in very, next 15 days or next 30 days or whatever it is. But you need to balance the both, understand the risks of going early, and delaying it further, because the business will not like you if you are being a hindrance in the process. So you need to solve this kind of ensure that whatever we are doing in a right manner without taking much risk, so that you will not be able to slow down the growth. If there is a big risk that you cannot able to take, that you need to be upfront that, hey, this is a big problem which is coming in on our way. We should not take the decision in a hurry. So you should be able to put forward that. But when you're putting that forward before the founders or the business folks, you need to have the data in hand to say that,
To validate your decision.
Yeah, to validate my decision, why I'm being uncomfortable with the decision, right? So these are the simple things which you need to ensure, being with regulators or investors, that you are going hand in hand, or else, so there is no transparency issues especially with investors. Because they are the ones who has given the money to the startups, and you are managing that money, and you need to be very, very clear when you are speaking to them. You have to take their suggestions on things that you don't know, because they might be seeing the similar kind of problems in other startups which you don't know. Maybe they'll give a suggestion to you, right? So you need to closely think that they're my partners also, and I need to be transparent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for sharing those examples and wonderfully explaining us how it works in the startup environment. But also talk to me about when you build your finance team in the current technology environment, especially in a startup, what skills do you look for in your employees?
Okay, I will tell you what is the average age that you think that in the startup world for all the employees, forget about finance. So they might be between 25 to 35, max to max, right?
Yeah.
And no one will be above 35.
Yeah.
And even in the finance, you need to have young folks who can drive the decision, who can read the data, who can do the analytics for you, who has the the adaptability, I can say, the hunger to learn, I can say, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have those set of folks who can take the decision. So in startups especially, the people doesn't like if you come up with a problem. You need to come up with the problem along with the solutions to it. Okay, you need to be in a position to take the decision. You should not make me to take it. I mean, I'm happy to take a decision, but you have to give me a couple of options. So you need to ensure your team is agile. Your team is uh, they will take a data-driven decisions. They will work with the business very closely. They have to understand the business in a proper manner. So by doing a normal chores, which they need to do, bookkeeping, tax and compliances, and everything, but they also need to understand how the business runs. If you doesn't know the how the business runs, and you cannot be able to answer to anyone. So I want my team to understand the business in a proper way, and use the data driven mechanism, whatever is automation piece. So they also need to understand the basic things. They need to automate in a proper way, right? Otherwise you cannot able to spend some time on analyzing the business. So you will always doing a reconciliation, you'll always spend your time in doing the basic things. So you need to automate and prioritize the basic things, and also work on the other things. So that's why I would like to
That brings actually me to my next question. How do you sort of keep that balance on investing in new technology, innovation, and also being cost prudent at the end of the day, because it matters a lot for a high growth startup like yours, right?
right. See, when it comes to investing on the tech and the innovation, so as a finance, we have to ensure that spends are not being incurred at excessive levels.
Controls.
We need to have in control first. I mean, now every company wants to spend humongously on AI tools and everything, but you need to understand what the problem that it will solve for the business, instead of just throwing up the money on the tools, right? Okay, is it making the existing work very easy for the tech team, so that you are not required to hire some people? Right? So you need to show some kind of balance. The cost measures we need to understand. We also would like to help the innovation in startups, especially. Every 15 days there'll be new idea. right? So how do you evaluate that idea? How do you give some kind of money to them? So you always need to keep some kind of buffer in your budgetings. You don't know at the start of the year what is going to be happen after 6 months in startup. No, it will not happen. You need to think about your budgets from time to time.
Yeah.
So you need to keep some kind of buffers to ensure the innovation is taking place, and you need to see what kind of tools they are using. How can we optimize the tools? Whether that is really needed. Okay, I wanted to adapt to the AI, but if it is going to cost some $100,000, but the benefit which I'm going to get is $10,000. So who will analyze this?
Yeah.
Is the question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So as a finance team, you need to understand. You should not stop them, but understand and give a proper response to them in terms of why it is not needed, why it is needed. Partner with them, understand. You need to understand the tech or SaaS tools. Even the finance team needs to understand why do you need X tool or why do you need Y tool, right? So otherwise you cannot be able to stop them. You just be sitting and ensuring that the cost is will be upticking.
Yeah.
And as a finance, you need to travel with the tech teams, you need to travel with the data teams, you need to travel with the engineering teams.
Yes. Yeah.
So to understand what the tool is solving for it, it's not like typical. Okay, some CTO has given the approval, I would like to.
Yeah, it's more of a collaboration with
Collaborate.
different vertical
Right.
of the startup system. But as we are talking about the Indian startup system, the high growth startups and the technology coming into the picture, of course, the role of Indian finance leaders are ought to change in the next 2 to 3 years. How do you see that changing, the role of finance leaders with the new technology in the startup environment?
That's an interesting question, which I'll try to answer that. As the new technologies are coming up, right, and they need to ensure that whatever they're doing right now, they will automate in a proper way, be it AI or whatever it is, using some kind of tools, so that they will take a data-driven decision making instead of
Yes.
using the general things. So you need to be adaptable to the tech to automate most of your function. That's why you will be a good leader, or you will be able to lead the functions down the line. Um, and also, you need to use the technology to study the competitors, how they are doing it, right?
Yeah.
And you need to tell them what kind of acquisitions I can make. Okay, how much I need to raise the funds by seeing the metrics of revenue. And if you think that I can be able to acquire a company, but for that you need to have a proper study which you need to do using by networking, or using some kind of tools to analyze, so that you will be able to transform. I think these are some common factors which will
Which we'll foresee in the
in the
coming
coming
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years.
Yeah. On that note, Prudhvi, we won't let you go as of now because we do have a lot of rapid fire questions for you. But
Okay.
thank you for answering all these questions in details before we get into our rapid fire round. Thank you so much for all your sharp insights and all the examples you explained us very well. On that note, let's start with our rapid fire questions. Starting with the first and the most important one, Prithvi, how do you like to unwind after a long day?
I would like to watch movies.
What
Okay,
kind of?
I'm a movie buff. I can say I will watch everything, be it in English or Hindi or Telugu, which is my native language, because that will take you into the different world,
Yeah.
right? So you're not required to think about your work. So that will take you to a different trance altogether. So I would like to watch more movies and spend time with my kids.
Oh,
So
great. One skill that you think every finance professional should probably learn in this day and age?
you need to be agile. You need to be have a lot of networking,
Mhm.
so that you will be able to connect with fellow leaders, understand the problems. That's why you'll be able to grow. And you need to use the tools to upskill your knowledge and journey. You should not think that I'm done with respected to
Like my studies are
yes,
not
my studies are not right. So you should not think like
like
that.
it's a
You should
continuous
continuously
knowledge is
update.
a continuous
Continuous
process.
update, and then you should
Yeah.
also learn from other leaders, because you will be in okay, this is a rapid fire, I don't want to go more. So
No, but networking as well. Like
exactly.
be in your when you know your
Right.
community well,
Right.
you will be able to be more agile. Right. Let's talk about how do you prefer working? Is it music or silence?
Silence. I generally work in the nights when everyone sleeps,
Okay.
so that my mind will perform in a better manner. So there's utter silence every day, so that I can concentrate on my work.
All right. Concentrate on the book of accounts.
Yeah. So
But if not finance, Prithvi, what would your other career option be?
tough question. I always regret not doing engineering and getting into AI, but no one knows that AI will be like this.
At the end of
Right.
the day, you will also become the custodian of AI.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
All right, then one app you can't live without.
I can say Twitter.
Is it?
Yeah, because
It's interesting.
it's
entertaining.
it's interesting, entertaining, and you will keep
Yeah.
on getting the world updates in
Yeah.
a single application. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Then early morning meetings or late night strategic calls. What do you prefer? I know that you work late at night.
Yeah, late night strategic meetings. We
Yeah,
solve a lot
of
of
course.
problems. We solve a lot of problems in the late night.
Then tea or coffee to power through the day.
Tea. I'm a tea person.
Tea
At any point of time, morning,
Okay.
afternoon, evening, and night,
Good to hear.
whatever it is.
And if you have to describe AI in one word, what would that be?
I think it's future of everything, I can say.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Prudhvi, for
Thank
being a
you.
part of this discussion and being very vocal about how you like to unwind your days. Like we spoke from finance to using tech to how to unwind days. We
Right,
covered
right,
entirely
right.
everything. Thank you so much for being
Thanks
a
for
part of this
inviting me here.
discussion. You know, we understood that finance isn't just about numbers now. It's
Right.
much, much more.
Much more. Yeah,
Much,
yeah.
much more. It's a collaboration with different teams. It's technology. It's the strategic function. Right? Thank you so much. And to our viewers, stay tuned for many, many more such exciting videos only at ET Studios.